This planet, yeah, the one right here, shouldn't exist, but it does. A newly discovered planet rotates around a star that's much smaller and dimmer than our Sun. The planet, however, is enormous. Such a tiny star couldn't create it, so it's like finding an ostrich egg in a chicken coop. A team at Penn State built a special tool called the Habitable Zone Planet Finder. It's an instrument that's supposed to find planets around dim, cool stars. It's connected to a big telescope in Texas. The tool looks at the light from these stars, which is mostly in the near-infrared, beyond what our eyes can see. This gadget can spot changes in a star's speed caused by a planet. If the star movement slightly changes, that means there must be a gravitational pull nearby. Years ago, this technique helped find the first known exoplanet around a star like our Sun. Today, we've improved this method to make more precise measurements. Our main goal is to find Earth-like planets. They should be rocky and located in habitable zones, areas around stars where liquid water could exist. The Doppler technique isn't that great at finding Earth-like worlds yet, but works well for cool, dim stars. And that's how we discovered the impossible LHS 3154b. Planets usually form in disks made of gas and dust in space. Picture a flat, spinning cloud of tiny particles. These particles come together and stick to each other, creating a flat, rotating disk. Over time, these tiny bits combine to form a solid core. This is the starting point for a planet. Once the core is there, it attracts more dust and even gas like hydrogen and helium. But making a planet this way isn't easy. They need a lot of stuff, mass, and materials. This process is called core accretion. Stars are a huge help in that process. Usually, big stars have more gravity, so they can gather more stuff to form planets. But the star we discovered recently isn't very big. It's 9 times smaller than our Sun. A star this small shouldn't have a big enough disk to make a heavy planet. To do that, its disk should have been at least 10 times bigger. But this heavy planet, LHS 3154b, exists. Now, this mysterious planet is 13 times heavier than our Earth. It's similar in size to Neptune. It's about 50 light-years away from us in the Hercules constellation, which, in space terms, is very close. The planet is also super close to its star, completing 1 year in almost 4 days. This discovery is making scientists rethink their ideas about how planets and stars come into existence. There are new theories coming around. For example, a theory called gravitational instability. It says that, instead of the pieces coming together bit by bit, the material in the disk collapses all at once, directly creating a planet. But even with this theory, it's hard to explain how such a heavy planet could form without a really massive disk. It'll take us some time to figure out the truth. This isn't the first planet that makes us doubt our theories. Recently, scientists found another planet called Hala. This planet is orbiting a star called Baekdu, and just like the previous one, it shouldn't really exist. It's way too close to its star. Stars change a lot during their lives. Normally, when a star becomes big and prepares to leave this world, it's called the red giant stage. A star like that tends to destroy or push away any nearby planets, creating a huge mess. Hala rotates around a red giant, and it should have been swallowed or destroyed by the expanding star a long time ago. But it's still hanging there. Even though Baekdu has already started burning helium and shrunk to a smaller size than expected, Hala isn't bothered in the slightest. Scientists call Hala the Forbidden Planet. Ooh. This discovery challenges what we thought about how planets survive near aging stars. It raises 2 theories. One suggests that Baekdu was once 2 stars, a white dwarf and a red giant. Hala orbited them both, and they merged before the red giant fully expanded. This allowed Hala to survive because the extra helium from the white dwarf prevented the red giant from growing too much. The second theory says that Hala formed from the debris created when the 2 stars merged. In this scenario, Hala would be a very young planet orbiting an elderly star. Astronomers plan to continue studying Hala and look for more planets like that. Another oddball, besides me, is called LTT 9779b. This one scares us too because it's too shiny. The planet reflects 80% of the light from its star. Regular mirrors reflect from 85 to almost 100% of light, which means that this mysterious planet should look like a rough mirror, with aluminum or silver-like reflections. This is another Neptune-sized planet. It's located 268 light-years from us and was discovered by NASA's TESS spacecraft. It completes a full rotation around its star in just 19 hours. It's so close to its star that it's scorching hot, reaching temperatures over 3,600 degrees Fahrenheit. Normally, planets this close lose their atmosphere and turn into bare rocks. But this one breaks the rules again. Now this time, we know the secret of its survival. It's because of the planet's shiny metallic clouds, which are made of glass and titanium salt. These clouds rain titanium onto its hot surface. They also reflect a lot of the light, preventing the planet from getting too hot and losing its atmosphere. It's like having a mirror shield. This planet's size also surprised scientists. It's way bigger than Earth. Other planets this close to their stars are either much bigger gas giants or small rocky planets. This planet is a smaller gas giant, and scientists didn't expect it to exist so close to its star. This is the shiniest planet ever found, even shinier than Venus. But despite its cool appearance, it's probably not a friendly place for life because of its extreme temperatures and strange metallic rain. And our final rule breaker is a planet called WASP 107b. Scientists discovered it using the James Webb Space Telescope. It's located around 208 light-years from us in the Virgo constellation. It's also fast and completes an orbit around its star in just 6 days. This is a super Neptune exoplanet. It's similar to Jupiter in some ways, including the same size and scorching hot temperatures. But the main difference is that it's much lighter, weaker, and less dense. This is the least dense planet we've discovered so far. After researching some more, we also found that it has a tail. The helium on the planet extends beyond the transit egress. The planet is slowly losing its atmosphere due to extreme ultraviolet radiation from the star. This creates a comet-like tail. So, it looks like a fluffy comet. But that was just the beginning. The planet's low density, or fluffiness, allowed astronomers to study its atmosphere in detail. They found some surprising things, like water vapor and clouds made of fine silicate particles, which are like really fine-grained sand. The planet's host star doesn't emit a lot of high-energy light. But since WASP 107b is so loose, the light can penetrate deep into its atmosphere. This creates sulfur dioxide that smell when you light a match. In other words, it's a fluffy planet that rains sand and smells like matches. The researchers think the sand clouds in the atmosphere form in a similar way to clouds on Earth. They just have droplets of sand instead of water. These sand droplets condense, fall, turn into silicate vapor in hot layers within the planet, and then rise again to form clouds once more. And, once again, this planet couldn't have formed in its current spot. Astronomers say that it likely moved closer to its star from a birth orbit because it was attracted by some heavier neighbor. It also follows a retrograde orbit, meaning it orbits in the opposite direction to its star's rotation. All these discoveries are changing how we understand planets and their atmospheres, giving us new insights into the mysteries of our own solar system. Okay, it seems scientists have come across a strange object in space, and they're not sure if it's a star or a planet. What we do know is that it's located 1,400 light-years away from us, and it makes us question what we thought we knew about the universe. Let me explain the dilemma here. We can tell if something is a star or a planet by considering the object's mass or the amount of stuff it has. Stars have a lot of mass, which gives them strong gravity that squeezes them tightly. Squeezing creates high temperatures inside them, causing them to shine brightly. Planets have less mass, so their gravity is weaker. They don't experience the same squeezing or high temperatures as stars. Instead, planets shine because they reflect the light from their stars, like our beautiful Earth does with our Sun, too. And this weirdo falls somewhere in between, since we consider it a brown dwarf. That's a special type of big, gaseous protostars. Brown dwarfs are usually like Jupiter in terms of their atmosphere, but they are much larger in size, about 13 to 80 times. If a brown dwarf has more than 80 times the mass of Jupiter, it can start burning regular hydrogen, just like a star. That's what usually makes stars shine brightly. But normally, brown dwarfs are not as hot as stars. Their inability to burn hydrogen has even earned them the nickname of failed stars. They burn at around 4,000 degrees Fahrenheit, which is cooler than most stars. But this object defies the norm. Its temperature measures an incredible 13,900 degrees Fahrenheit. Now let's put that into perspective. The hottest day in history was reported to happen in Death Valley, California, more than 100 years ago, with a temperature of 134 degrees Fahrenheit. People back then must have felt like they were melting along with everything around them. Now imagine getting closer to the Sun, like taking a trip to Venus. Venus can reach insane temperatures of 860 degrees. It's not only about the distance, though. Mercury is the planet closest to the Sun, but it's still colder than Venus. Venus is extremely hot due to the greenhouse effect. Did you know that Venus could have been a delightful place to live a long time ago? Or at least be home to any form of life. But at some point, it started to trap carbon dioxide and eventually created this thick, smoggy oven that doesn't release heat. And that's why it's so hard to explore. The longest a probe managed to last on Venus was 2 hours. But hey, that's longer than I can do at work, and then I melt. So yeah, then you get to the Sun. Its surface burns at an incredible 9,930 degrees Fahrenheit. And what's fascinating is that this weird brown star we're talking about is hotter than that. I mean, it's not hotter than the Sun's core, whose temperatures go up to 27 million degrees, but it's still very impressive and unusual for a brown dwarf to be this hot. At least that's what everyone thought until they realized why it was happening. The brown dwarf is remarkably close to another star that falls into the category of white dwarfs. They're so close to each other that our mysterious star makes one orbit around its white dwarf friend in just 2.3 hours. Woo! How old we'd be over there! Since they're this close, they're tidally locked like our Moon and Earth. That means one side of this brown dwarf always faces the white dwarf, and the other side is forever in darkness. Because of all this, our brown dwarf is superheated on one side only. So its day side is what got us confused. While the temperature on the night side is what you would expect from a brown dwarf. But these extreme conditions won't last long. Such a hot temperature makes the molecules in the dwarf's atmosphere break apart into individual atoms. And while its molecules are falling apart, this brown dwarf is slowly disappearing. And if you think this brown dwarf is hot, what would you say about Eta Carinae? It's a star located about 7,500 light-years away from Earth, and it belongs to an elite group of stars we call luminous blue variables. One astronomer first noticed it in the 17th century, but back then, it was just a regular medium-bright star. Almost 200 years later, another astronomer was observing it. But this time, it was a very bright star, one of the brightest ones in the sky. A few years later, it reached the highest level of brightness in a big event called the Great Eruption. When it happened, the star could be easily seen in the night sky. It released so much light, as much as is emitted in a supernova explosion. It remained like that for a couple of years, which is not what usually happens with exploding stars. After the party reached its peak, the star decided it was time to leave. It's still hesitating though, so it's still alive but dimmer than before. There's a nebula around Eta Carinae too. It is a shell made of gas and dust that formed during the Great Eruption. It even blocks some of the star's light. Eta Carinae is a binary star system. That means there are two stars that orbit around each other. One component has a temperature of about 26,500 degrees, and the other 62,500 degrees. The main star in the Eta Carinae system, which is the more massive of the two, is 100 times heavier than our Sun. Because of its enormous mass, scientists predict that this star may eventually explode in a powerful event known as a supernova. But not for another several thousand years. So, by now, you might have already guessed what the hottest thing in the universe is. Ta-da! A supernova. The supernova is what tells us that the life of a star has ended. We're talking about the most powerful explosions in space. They happen when a star that's between 8 and 40 times more massive than our Sun flops. Its core can no longer create enough energy through a process called fusion, so the star can't even handle its own gravity. It's like a stellar burnout, too much work a star can't handle, and its core just collapses. During a supernova, the temperatures in the star's core can get 6,000 times higher than in the core of the Sun. Or sometimes, a specific type of star called a white dwarf suddenly restarts its nuclear fusion, and bam, you get a supernova again. Kepler's supernova happened at the beginning of the 17th century, and it was the last really big supernova event we directly observed from Earth. On average, supernovas in our galaxy happen 3 times every century. I mean, we got a smaller supernova in 1987 too, when a blue supergiant exploded in one of the Milky Way's satellite galaxies, which we know as the Large Magellanic Cloud. This explosion was so strong, people could even observe it with the unaided eye, even though it was incredibly far, 168,000 light-years away from our home planet. What a topic for summer days, huh? But check this out. We can also talk about the hottest thing people have ever created, made in a surprising place, Switzerland. Nah, we're not talking about a super hot chocolate. A group of scientists there created a subatomic soup called a quark-gluon plasma. In this experiment, the temperature got 250,000 times as hot as the Sun's core. The purpose of this experiment was to recreate the conditions that existed shortly after the Big Bang, when the universe was still in a state of chaos. Okay, let's get even more extreme. In theory, things can get even hotter. Have you heard of the Planck temperature? It's an insanely hot temperature with numbers so high we can't even imagine. A supernova is like tepid tea compared to this madness. And who even knows what the matter does at these temperatures? Okay, I'm done. Now we take you back to your regular universe. Bye now. The hunt for interesting exoplanets and life forms somewhere out there in the vast expanse of the universe keeps going. No stopping here. We're basically searching for a second Earth, a planet that's similar to our home, and where we could finally find some space friends. Hey, we're not picky. Any form of life is fine, even some bacteria-sized organisms. And this search has mostly been going on in the habitable zone around other stars. We call this the Goldilocks zone. That's a region where conditions are barely just right for liquid water to exist, whether we're talking about the surface of a planet or a moon. The hotter the star, the more space we get to explore, because its habitable zone spreads far away. And in terms of endless space that we yet know so little about, that's a lot of work. That's why we're fans of red dwarfs. There are hundreds of billions of stars in our galaxy, and probably around 80% of them are red dwarfs. These tiny stars are much cooler than our Sun. It means that their habitable zones are much smaller and closer to the star, so we know better where to look for planets. They're circling around their central star, and at some point, bingo, there it is. They pass in front of it and block out some of its light. The Kepler Space Telescope has already helped us find thousands of planets using this method, and most of them are orbiting around red dwarfs. Some of these planets are similar in size to Earth, and many of them could have nearly 25 times more water than our entire planet. Let's move to these planets scientists discovered, though. I want to show you something special. So, you've heard of super-Earths, right? More massive than Earth, lighter than Neptune, can be made of rock, gas, or a mix of both. Some of them have thick atmospheres, while others have thin or no atmospheres at all. You may also have stumbled upon mini Neptunes by now too. They're almost as big as Neptune, and unlike normal gas giants, they have solid cores. That way, they can support a dense atmosphere with water and some other chemicals necessary for life. There's also hot Jupiters. Those are pretty cool, but only if they're far away from us. You know that one annoying and unpredictable neighbor you can never get rid of or figure out what they're going to do? Yeah, that would be a hot Jupiter, with strong gravity that can destabilize the orbits of smaller planets or other space bodies in the system. If we had such a neighbor, there would be more comets and asteroids hitting our surface. Luckily, our Jupiter's a good and peaceful neighbor that minds his own business, at least for now. But let's leave all these and many other planets out there alone now. Imagine traveling around in your spaceship and coming across a giant eyeball just floating there in the darkness of space and staring at the central star of that solar system. It's not a monster. Hopefully, space friends we'll make in the future won't look that big and scary, so it won't blink or turn towards you as you come closer. It's actually a planet. A little bit bizarre, but still very cool. And yup, you guessed it right, we call such eyeball planets. Now, eyeball planets are surprisingly common. Plus, some normal planets can potentially turn into them too. Eyeball planets form when matter and dust accumulates around a star and gradually turns into a solid object. It starts spinning, and over time, the gravity of the star pulls on the planet and slows its rotation until it becomes tidally locked. That means one hemisphere always faces the star, while the other is in darkness all the time. Now, we have a good example of this phenomenon near us, too. Our moon makes a circle around Earth once a month. It takes the same amount of time to turn a single time on its axis. That way, we actually always see the same face of the moon. Who knows, maybe the other side is even prettier, if you like craters and stuff. So, one of the most interesting things about eyeball planets is their appearance. If they had water on their surface, the side facing the star would have clear, bright blue oceans, the ones we'd want to visit if we ever got a chance to go on an interstellar vacation. And the other side would be more for adventurers who like harsh and challenging surroundings. Since it's in constant darkness, it would most likely be very cold and covered in ice. We've discovered so many planets outside of our solar system in the last 30 years. Super-Earths are, of course, especially interesting. It seems that many of them are not that pleasant, since they're pretty hazy and cloudy. It means it's harder to spot any life there. But some scientists still think there are promising spots when it comes to finding life beyond our solar system. Eyeball super-Earths would be a good start. These planets are probably covered in large oceans. On the cold half, where the eternal night reigns, you'd experience Arctic conditions. I feel cold just looking at this. But the day side is my jam. Plus, it sounds promising when it comes to finding life. With all that sunlight, oceans, and stuff. One of the good examples where scientists are looking for life is an eyeball super-Earth that lies in a habitable zone of the closest star to our solar system, called Proxima b. Its day side could even have conditions and an atmosphere to support some form of life. There could be a large deep ocean covering its surface. It could be really salty, but some forms of life could still survive there. Check out the Dead Sea on Earth. It's extremely salty, but some bacteria have still evolved to live there. And they're probably doing well, having their own world and all that. It's not crowded because there are no animals there. Fish that accidentally end up in the Dead Sea won't survive there for long. So, similarly, it's possible that bacteria or some other forms of life could exist in this potentially very salty ocean on Proxima b as well. But the open ocean on Proxima b could be tricky. On the dark side of the planet, the ocean could freeze, and sea ice could drift into warmer waters. That way, the ocean would cool, and more of it would freeze, even on the sunny side. The only way to prevent this global freeze-over would be an atmosphere with a lot of greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide. This kind of atmosphere would trap the heat from the planet's surface and wouldn't allow it to escape into space, like what happens with Venus, the hottest planet in our solar system. Without an atmosphere with greenhouse gases, the surface of Proxima b would be much colder, so it's possible that the planet would completely freeze over. The opposite scenario could also be possible. Warmer waters could serve as a transporter of heat from warm to cold regions. We don't know much about the conditions on the planet yet, so Proxima b could range from a frozen wasteland to a hot, hazy world, depending on many factors. So yeah, an eyeball planet within the habitable zone sounds promising, but its surface can still wildly range from a frozen desert to an endless ocean. Some experts believe that drifting sea ice might cool many exoplanets out there, and they can't turn into eyeball worlds. Instead, many just become sad, dark snowballs, completely covered in ice. A cool spot to spend your interstellar winter holidays, but not a place where you'd hope to find life, unfortunately. Some studies show that even Earth may have gone through some snowball stages many times in history. One of those happened around 2.2 billion years ago. I wasn't around. While the other one hit the planet 630 million years ago. During these phases, all of our beautiful oceans were covered with snow and sea ice. Perhaps even the continents were just thick ice sheets, at least on the surface. Alright, enough with the freezy icy stuff. I need some hot chocolate. As scientists continue to explore the vast expanse of the universe, they've made some incredible discoveries that have left them with more questions than answers. From a scorching super-Earth to a football-shaped world. The exoplanet discoveries of 2022 are truly out of this world. So, hold on tight, the future of exoplanet discoveries is looking brighter than ever. Number 1. New type of exoplanets. Red dwarfs make up over 70% of all stars in space. So, in September of 2022, scientists decided to take a closer look at the small worlds orbiting them. What they found was amazing. New type of exoplanets that were made of half rock and half water, either in liquid or ice form. The researchers suggested that these planets likely arose from icy material and were born far away from their stars, past the ice line, where surface temperatures are freezing. But they later migrated closer in, to where the astronomers detected them. This discovery could have huge implications in the search for life in the cosmos. Though these planets are loaded with water, they might not be covered in oceans. Who knows? Maybe one of them will be the next Earth 2.0. Number 2. Jupiter-sized world. Imagine a planet so massive and mysterious, it's like a hidden Jupiter in our galaxy. Well, we just discovered one of those orbiting a star just 379 light-years away. Just. We've named it the TOI 2180b, and it's got everyone talking. Why? Well, for starters, this planet takes a whopping 261 days to orbit its star, which is much longer than most distant gas giants we've come across so far. But that's not all. The temperature on this world is surprisingly mild, averaging at a balmy 170 degrees Fahrenheit. For comparison, the temperature on Jupiter and Saturn is around minus 280 degrees. It's like a bridge between the giant exoplanets we've found and our Jupiter. But the question remains, how did this planet get to be so different? Scientists are still trying to figure that out. Let's hope that we get some answers soon. Number 3. The Hulk planet. This world is a place where the surface is covered in molten magma, and the year lasts just half a day. Welcome to TOI 1075b, an exoplanet that's been dubbed the planet Hulk by scientists. Located 200 light-years away, this super-Earth is one of the most massive ever discovered. Its proximity to its parent star causes its surface to reach scorching temperatures of 1922 degrees. It's so hot that any form of water would evaporate instantly, and the air would be filled with vaporized rock. But it's not just the heat that's impressive, it's also its size. TOI 1075b is nearly 10 times the mass of Earth, making it one of the most massive super-Earths ever discovered. But the mystery doesn't stop there. The planet's orbit takes just 14.5 hours, making it one of the shortest orbital periods ever recorded for a planet of its size. What an exciting addition to our catalog! Number 4. 3 doomed planets. Astronomers made a shocking discovery of 3 planets that are circling in a dangerous dance next to the slowly fading stars. Just a decade ago, scientists never even imagined such planets could exist. These gas giant planets, similar in size to Jupiter, orbit way too close to their slowly fading stars. They're basically walking on the edge. Take one of them, for example, dubbed TOI 2337b. Its orbit will likely send it hurtling straight into the fiery arms of its host star in less than 1 million years. Well, I won't be around then. As these stars enter their final days, they're pulling in nearby planets like a black hole, altering their orbits and potentially causing catastrophic collisions. And as these planets get closer to their stars, their atmospheres heat up and swell, leading to some mind-boggling differences in density. But despite the doom and gloom, studying these worlds could give us valuable insights into the evolution of our own solar system. Number 5. Planet with a barium's atmosphere. These are 2 hot blazing planets, each with an atmosphere made of the heaviest element ever found in an exoplanet, barium. These planets, known as WASP-76b and WASP-121b, are ultra-hot gas giants called superjupiters that orbit incredibly close to their stars. These planets are basically like giant balls of fire, with one side facing the star, cooking at temperatures hot enough to vaporize iron and other metals. But as the hot iron vapor is blown into the planet's cooler night side, it turns into liquid and falls as iron rain. And these planets held a special surprise for us. Barium is a heavy metal, about 2.5 times as heavy as iron. And yet, scientists were able to detect it in the upper layers of these planets' atmospheres. This is truly a mystery and a puzzle we're still trying to solve. Imagine landing on a planet like this and looking at this rain of iron and the heavy barium in its skies. That would be awesomely horrifying. Number 6. The Football Planet. Get ready to have your mind blown, space enthusiasts, because we've just discovered the ultimate football-shaped planet, and it's unlike anything we've ever seen before. Meet WASP-103b, the ultra-hot exoplanet that's more than 1,000 light-years away from Earth. This gas giant is so close to its parent star that its shape is being stretched by the intense gravitational forces. But this isn't just a fun shapeshifter. It's also a valuable scientific discovery. By studying the planet's passes across its star, we were able to measure its deformation for the first time ever. It's like taking a snapshot of a planet in motion, and it's giving us insights into the extreme conditions that these planets can endure. This is truly a great discovery. Number 7. A zodiacal light. Are you ready for a cosmic ghost story? Scientists and high school students in China have uncovered a spooky phenomenon on 3 distant exoplanets. It's called zodiacal light, a glow that's similar to the one seen here on Earth during sunset. But this isn't just some eerie light show. It could hold clues about the makeup of these potentially habitable worlds. Imagine watching the sunset from a dark spot on Earth, and instead of darkness, a triangle of light appears. That's zodiacal light. It's caused by sunlight reflecting off dust particles that fill the solar system, the remains of asteroids and comets. A team of researchers analyzed 47 potential habitable exoplanets named Kepler-69c, Kepler-1229b, and Kepler-395c, all super-Earths, had signs of this light. This discovery is more than just a spooky phenomenon. It could reveal information about the presence of asteroids and comets in these exoplanet systems, which could be difficult to detect otherwise. So that's pretty neat. Number 8. A planet with silicate clouds. Introducing VHS 1259b, not a home video recording system, but a strange and exotic world shrouded in mystery and wonder. A place where the clouds are made of sand and the sky is forever red. This isn't the stuff of science fiction, but a real-life discovery made by the brilliant minds at NASA. This is a brown dwarf exoplanet that's making waves in the astronomical community. It's way too massive for a planet, nearly 20 times the size of Jupiter, but it's not quite a star. It's something in between, a cosmic enigma that defies definition. But what's really crazy about VHS 1256b is its atmosphere. Scientists have discovered that this strange world is cloaked in thick clouds of silicate grains, similar to sand. It's the first time this kind of cloud has ever been detected on an exoplanet, and it's a discovery that's sure to change the way we think about the universe and the possibilities of life beyond our world. And there you have it, folks. The year 2022 was filled with incredible discoveries and groundbreaking findings in the world of exoplanets. But this is just the beginning, as scientists and researchers continue to explore the vast expanse of space. We can only imagine what other wonders await us. So, let's keep looking. Who knows what secrets the stars hold for us next?
For thousands of years, people knew only about the planets Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, which they could see using simple telescopes, or even by the naked eye if conditions were good. But in the late 18th century, a famous astronomer named Sir William Herschel discovered a new planet that was icy blue in color. At first, people thought it was a star, but later they realized it was a planet. Today, we know it as Uranus, a planet that's more than 19 times farther away from the Sun than Earth. It's so far away that it takes Uranus 84 years to complete one trip around the Sun. This astronomer also discovered many other interesting things in space, like double stars and nebulae. In the mid-1800s, scientists noticed something pulled Uranus and strangely tugged its orbit. They thought there must be another planet out there, and they used math to predict where it would be. Finally, in 1846, they found Neptune using a telescope. It was too faint to see with the naked eye because it was too far away from the Sun. It was all so exciting. Who knows how many other planets could be there, lurking in the darkness of our solar system? Back in the mid-1800s, astronomers noticed something unusual was happening in the sky. A small rocky planet named Mercury was behaving strangely. It didn't follow the predictable orbit that was expected of it. One of the astronomers was a brilliant French scientist named Urbain Le Verrier. He came up with a theory that there could be another planet in our solar system no one had yet discovered. It would be located somewhere between Mercury and the Sun. This hypothetical planet, which he named Vulcan after the Roman god of fire, would have an incredibly hot surface, and it could be a potential explanation for Mercury's strange behavior. He never surely claimed Vulcan was really the one thing disturbing the orbit of Mercury. But, excited by the possibility of discovering a new planet, astronomers all over the world took the idea of Vulcan. For a planet that didn't exist, people committed to developing ideas and getting information about it. Some scientists didn't think it was likely that they had missed another planet as big as Mercury. It would have been hard not to see it by then. But there was a tiny chance of a smaller planet existing inside Mercury's orbit that was too close to the Sun, so no one could see it. One theory said it was about 13 million miles away from the Sun. Mercury is the planet with the most eccentric orbit in our solar system, but the closest point it gets to the Sun is about 28.5 million miles. This means Vulcan would be under half of that distance. The theory moved on, saying that if Vulcan existed, it would orbit the Sun every 19 days and 18 hours, and its path would be tilted about 12 degrees relative to the path of other planets in our solar system. Vulcan's position at its furthest point from the Sun would still be too close to the Sun to be seen with the naked eye, even during twilight. The only chance of seeing Vulcan would be during a solar eclipse, or when it passed in front of the Sun, which, as the theory said, would be 2 to 4 times a year. They had a theory that this mysterious planet was so close to the Sun that it could only be seen during a total solar eclipse when the Moon blocked out the Sun's blinding glare. So, every time there was an eclipse, scientists would peer at the Sun, hoping to catch a glimpse of Vulcan. They were trying really hard, but no matter what, they couldn't find this mysterious planet. Some astronomers claimed to have spotted it during eclipses, but no one could ever confirm or find evidence for that. The theory of Vulcan was left waiting for some better times. Einstein had a different idea. You know about his theory of general relativity, right? That's where he claimed gravity wasn't some sort of natural force, but a result of space-time curved because of the presence of giant space objects, like planets and stars. Planets circle around the sun in their usual orbit because space-time is curved. That means the planets are kind of falling towards the central star of our solar system. And Einstein tried to explain Mercury's unusual orbit using his own theory of relativity. Unlike the other planets in our solar system, Mercury's orbit wasn't that circular. Instead, it seemed to wobble slightly, as if there was an invisible force pulling it away. Einstein said this could be happening because the massive gravity of our sun was actually curving the fabric of space-time around it. He claimed it's possible this changed Mercury's orbit a little bit. It took the scientific community a while to test this theory, but it eventually seemed like the most plausible explanation. Even though Einstein's theory gave us a more elegant explanation for Mercury's strange orbit, some scientists were still holding out hope for Vulcan. It was especially hard to let go of the idea of Vulcan because Mercury is also the planet that's really hard to see from where we're standing. But later, more and more scientists started accepting Einstein's theory above their imagination. And they would observe a total solar eclipse specifically to test Einstein's theory of relativity, not because of Vulcan. And Vulcan is not the only hypothetical planet everyone was talking about. In the newer age, some believe there could be a mysterious planet lurking in the outer part of our solar system. But this one is more likely to exist. No one has seen it directly yet, but computer simulations show this so-called Planet 9, or Planet X, is probably somewhere there beyond Neptune. Neptune and Planet X could be similar in size. Planet X could be 10 times more massive than Earth and circles around our Sun in an elongated shape, which is on average 20 times farther from the Sun than Neptune. A year there may last between 10,000 to 20,000 Earth years. By comparison, a year on Neptune lasts 165 Earth years. Something this big moving out there beyond Neptune could explain the unusual orbits of smaller objects in the Kuiper Belt. The Kuiper Belt is the area of our solar system beyond Neptune and where it orbits. And there are most likely many asteroids, comets, and some other smaller bodies there, mostly made of ice. There was another hypothetical planet called Nibiru. Remember those rumors that the world could end back in 2012? One of the popular scenarios was Nibiru, which some claimed would hit our home planet at the end of the year. Of course, nothing happened. We're still here, all set and good, but the idea of Nibiru seemed interesting. Stories started in the 1970s when a man named Zecharia Sitchin mentioned Nibiru in his book, The 12th Planet, claiming it orbits the Sun every 3,600 years. But there's no chance a planet with such an eccentric orbit wouldn't disrupt other planets in our solar system with its gravity. And if it was really coming that close to Earth in 2012, we were supposed to be able to see it with the naked eye. Some simple calculations showed Nibiru would have been nearly as bright as Mars at its dimmest, and brighter than the faintest stars you see from a city. Oh well, maybe we'll have more luck in the next 3,500 and something years. In 2011, a comet named Elenin appeared that many people thought could be Nibiru. But when you're looking at comets and planets through a telescope, you see they appear differently. A comet has a coma, which is a gas atmosphere, together with a tail, something a planet doesn't have. Plus, this comet didn't slam into the Earth. It came too close to our Sun and fell apart. The leftover pieces will continue moving on their way to the outer solar system for the next 12,000 years.
Now, if Earth were the size of a nickel, Neptune would be about as big as a baseball. That's impressive, but it's nothing compared to the giant ninth planet that might be hiding out there. Now, our Planet 9's discovery saga might have finally come to an end. Turns out, the problem wasn't where we were looking, but how. And researchers might have just made the biggest solar system discovery in decades. You see, the idea of finding a planet beyond Neptune has been around for years now. I know, back in school, you probably learned that the ninth planet was Pluto. But forget about Pluto. It's been demoted to a less fancy category since 2006. What I'm talking about is the Planet 9, a hypothetical giant planet that could be our cosmic neighbor. We've never actually seen it, but scientists are pretty sure it's out there somewhere, hiding in the outer solar system. To explain why they think that, we need a sheet of paper. Hey, here's one. We place a coin on it, and suddenly, it starts to move. Unless we're talking about some kind of superpower, there's no way this coin is moving on its own, right? So, you figure someone must be on the other side, holding a magnet and moving it around. You can't see the magnet, but it explains why the coin is moving. That's kind of what's happening with Planet 9. We can't see it, we can't prove it, yet, but its existence could explain the strange movements we see out there in space. For example, the planets in our solar system orbit on a flat plane that's tilted about 6 degrees relative to the Sun. But why 6 degrees? Well, no one really knows for sure. Some scientists think those orbits might be slightly tilted because of the pull of a ninth planet. Its existence could also explain the unusual paths of smaller objects in the distant Kuiper Belt, a region full of icy debris that stretches far beyond Neptune's orbit. Back in 2016, researchers from Caltech published a study about Planet 9. They suggested it could have a mass about 10 times that of Earth and follow a highly elongated path. That's a scientific way of saying it takes forever to make one trip around the Sun. Because of that, it would be located in the outer solar system. I mean, far, far away. It would orbit the Sun about 20 to 30 times farther out than our most distant planet, Neptune. According to scientists, Planet 9 would take up to 20,000 Earth years to complete just one full orbit around the Sun. Since it's crazy far out there, it's almost impossible to see it. So, as cool as this hypothesis sounds, we've never found solid evidence that Planet 9 actually exists. But we might be pretty close. In May 2025, a team at National Tsinghua University might have made one of the most exciting solar system discoveries ever. Alright, so there's a hypothesis that Planet 9 hasn't been discovered yet because we haven't been using the right method. This new study raises an interesting question. What if Planet 9 actually looks brighter in infrared light than it does in visible light? Let me explain. Scientists have been trying to spot Planet 9 by its reflected light. But here's the problem. To spot it in visible wavelengths, sunlight would have to travel all the way out to Planet 9, bounce off its surface, and then travel all the way back to Earth. If a Neptune-sized planet were about 10 times farther away than Neptune, it would look about 10,000 times fainter. But a planet's own thermal radiation, its heat, only has to make a one-way trip. So in infrared light, Planet 9 would only be about 100 times fainter. That's why it makes more sense to look for it using space-based infrared telescopes. And that's the idea behind this new study. The team started digging through archives, searching for old infrared sky survey data, and they pulled it from two main sources. First, IRIS, a satellite launched in the 80s that scanned the sky for almost a year. Then, the Japanese satellite Akari, another infrared observatory that operated between 2006 and 2011. So basically, they compared objects that showed up in IRIS database and noticed which ones had moved by the time Akari took its observations. And by doing that, the researchers found something incredible, an object that might just be our long-lost ninth planet. Because if something moves, it could be a planet orbiting the Sun, right? And yeah, they did find some celestial objects showing tiny movements. But before jumping to conclusions, they had to rule out the parallax effect. And that's something really important when we're talking about solar system discoveries. To explain it, I need you to do something. Hold one finger in front of your face. Close one eye, and now switch. Your finger seems to move a tiny bit, right? That's because you're looking at it from a slightly different angle, from one eyeball to the other. The same thing happens when we look out into space from Earth. Since our planet orbits the Sun, our view of very distant objects shifts just a little. That effect is called parallax. My point is, because of this effect, Planet 9 would appear to move across the sky as Earth goes around the Sun. On any given day, it might seem to be in one spot, but 6 months later, when Earth is on the opposite side of the Sun, it would look like it shifted. 6 months after that, it would seem to move back again. Scientists had to account for parallax. Actually, they had to remove its effects. So the team looked at images of the sky taken on the same date every year. Because on that same date, Earth is always in the same spot in its orbit. That means if Planet 9 is real, it would show up in the same place in those images every year. No fake wiggle from parallax, just its real position. This careful search led them to a single object, a tiny dot in the infrared data. This strange little spot had moved slightly along its orbit around the Sun over the 23 years between Iris and Akari. Wait, could that be it? Did astronomers just confirm a hidden planet? Well, maybe. But don't get too excited. The data we have on its motion over that time is not enough to figure out its full orbit. So, for now, we still can't say for sure if this mysterious object is really Planet 9. It's definitely a strong candidate, though. Based on how bright the object appears, the team estimates it could be pretty massive, and that came as a big surprise. You see, previous NASA research ruled out any Jupiter-sized or Saturn-sized planets hiding out there, but a smaller world would have gone undetected. So the scientists were looking for something just a bit bigger than Earth. But it turns out this mysterious planet might be more massive than Neptune. Now that they've discovered Planet 9, supposedly at least, the plan is to keep tracking it and collecting new data. But don't think the road ahead will be easy. Because since the Akari satellite spotted it for the first time, that object didn't just sit still. It's been moving slowly through space ever since. So now scientists need to use regular telescopes on Earth to look for it again. And here's the tricky part. They're not exactly sure where it moved to, so they have to search a pretty big patch of the sky. And so far, no matching object has been found. Whether this really turns out to be the Planet 9 discovery or not, only time will tell. For now, its existence is still up for debate. But with powerful new technology on the way, like NASA's Nancy Grace Roman Space Telescope, astronomers are more determined than ever to uncover the truth. And if Planet 9 really is out there, hiding in the cold, dark edges of our solar system, it's running out of places to hide.
From planets with glass rain and oceans of lava, to worlds with 3 suns and giant diamonds, our universe is full of surprises. Sometimes we find celestial bodies that shouldn't even exist at all. But despite all logical reasoning, they live and thrive. In 2023, we discovered another impossible planet, TOI 5295b. Once again, our universe turns out to be much more complicated than we thought, and this isn't the only strange planet that we've discovered in recent years. So, let's take a look at a couple of these impossible planets. TOI 5205b is the first one on the list. This is an unusually large planet orbiting a small star. It's located about 280 light-years from Earth. It's quadrillions of miles, but on a cosmic scale, it's pretty close. This planet was discovered just recently, in 2023. So why is it so special? Because it doesn't follow the rules of planetary formation, like other planets in its neighborhood. TOI 5205b is a bit of a rebel because it orbits a tiny red dwarf star that's only 4 times larger than Jupiter. What's so weird about it, you ask? Well, you see, a red dwarf is basically like the runt of the litter in the world of stars. This type of star is rather cold, about 2 times colder than the Sun. They have a reddish tint, hence the name. And yep, stars work quite strangely. The closer they are to red, the colder they are, and the closer to blue, the hotter they are. Hey, I don't make the rules. Anyway, because of all this, they aren't very bright. So without a good telescope, you won't see them in the sky. But they aren't just some space losers. They're the most common stars in the universe. They also live much longer than our Sun, and thanks to this, they usually have a bunch of different planets orbiting them, including those similar to our Earth. So if one day we decide to find a new home, it may well be near some red dwarf. But here's the catch with TOI 5205b. It's a gas giant. Gas giants like, for example, Jupiter or Saturn, are the behemoths of the universe. These planets are mainly made up of gases like hydrogen and helium. They don't have a solid surface like Earth or Mars, so you can't exactly land on them without getting crushed by the immense pressure. And they're not called giants for nothing. They're absolutely massive. In fact, if you took all the other planets in our solar system and squished them together, they still wouldn't be as big as Jupiter. In other words, they're the gassy wrestlers of the planetary family. So, how is it possible that such a huge planet orbits such a small, weak star? Red dwarfs are usually considered too small to host gas giants. Moreover, it's physically impossible. Or at least, so we thought. But TOI 5205b had other plans and decided to form near a red dwarf anyway. It's like a small pea orbiting around a lemon, which doesn't sound that bad until you remember that Jupiter next to our Sun is like a pea next to a basketball. Only really big stars are able to keep such big planets nearby. This had astronomers scratching their heads as it went against everything they thought they knew about planet formation. And while we try to figure out how TOI 5205b managed to break the rules, the planet itself seems pretty content to blaze its path through the cosmos. And it isn't the only one. In recent years, scientists have discovered a bunch of such forbidden planets. So let's check out the other ones. For example, TOI 3757b, a giant planet with the density of a marshmallow. Imagine a giant planet that's so soft and fluffy it's like a marshmallow floating in space. That's right, TOI 3757b is a gas giant that's been dubbed the Marshmallow Planet because of its incredibly low density. Of course, it's not edible and cute like real marshmallows, but it would still be fun to touch it. This planet was discovered in 2022. It's located in the constellation of Auriga the Charioteer, 591 light-years from us. Just like the previous one, it's also orbiting around a red dwarf star. And get this, TOI 3757b only takes around 3 days to complete one orbit. Imagine having a birthday every 3 days. It's also incredibly close to its star, just some 3.5 million miles away. For comparison, the distance between the Sun and the planet closest to it, Mercury, is about 36 million miles. So TOI 3757b is like right on top of its star. Let's hope this marshmallow planet doesn't get too toasted. Now let's talk about how this planet was discovered. It was spotted by the Transiting Exoplanet Survey Satellite, or TESS, a space detective on the hunt for new planets. The transit detection method is when scientists use the star's light to find their planets. When the planet passes through the star, it blocks a tiny portion of the star's light, making it look a little dimmer for a while. Scientists can detect this dip in brightness using special instruments. If the dip happens regularly, they can tell that there's a planet orbiting the star. The size of the dip in brightness tells scientists how big the planet is and how close it is to the star. If the dip is really small, that means the planet is probably pretty small too. And if the dip happens more frequently, that means the planet is probably closer to the star. And this is how we discovered our Marshmallow Planet and many other ones. Overall, TOI 3757b is a fascinating planet that's captured our imaginations with its unique properties. Now, let's move on to the next mysterious celestial body. TYC 8998-760-1b on the border of a planet and a star. Whew, that was a mouthful. Let me introduce you to a planet whose name I won't repeat. Well, this baby is also a gas giant. But not just any gas giant. In fact, it's so big, it could make Jupiter feel like a tiny pebble in comparison. I mean, it's 14 times the mass of Jupiter and 3 times as big around. Isn't that impressive? It orbits a very young, sun-like star 300 light-years away. This star is only 17 million years old, and yes, it's considered a baby among the stars. For comparison, our own Sun is about 4.5 billion years old. But the star itself isn't that interesting. The planet, on the other hand, is a bit of a weirdo. You see, planets just can't be that big. With its enormous mass, it should be a star. It's kind of like the Caspian Sea, which is considered the largest lake in the world. Just as the Caspian Sea isn't really a sea or a lake, this planet is the middle child of the universe. Not quite a star, but not exactly a planet either. Some scientists think that it might be a failed star, which is like saying a cake that didn't rise properly. And let's talk about its temperature. You know how you feel like a baked potato when it's 90 degrees Fahrenheit outside? Well, this planet laughs at us. Its estimated surface temperature is a whopping 2,600 degrees Fahrenheit. That's hotter than a jalapeno popper straight out of the fryer. This time, the planet was discovered by the imaging detection method. You see, capturing pictures of exoplanets is no easy feat. The star is always way brighter and ruins the pic. It's like trying to take a selfie with your crush while your annoying little sibling is jumping up and down in front of you. But scientists have a solution. They use some specialized optics and clever observation methods, like coronography. They basically block out the light of a star so that we can see the planet more clearly. Magic, right? And that's how they discovered this not-a-star planet too. And now it's giving scientists a lot to think about. It makes us question what we know about the formation of planets. Let's hope we'll find out more about it in the future. It's amazing to think about the weird and wacky things that exist in our universe, and these planets definitely fit the bill. Who knows what else is out there waiting to be discovered? Maybe someday we'll find a planet that's even more impossible than the ones we just discussed. Until then, keep your eyes on the skies and your mind open to the infinite possibilities of our universe.